Hello and welcome to Talkin Yanks. It's another player profile and projection, or should I say players, profiles, and projections, because we're doubling up today. We got King Nestor. Nestor the King. Michael King and Nestor Cortes Jr. Now, if I was to tell you one of these men, lineage, 10 great-grandfathers back, was king of something, village, town, castle, who would you choose? The guy whose name is King or the guy whose name is Cortez?
Ooh, I did a project on Hernan a while back. I'd go King. It's in the name.
Because of the name thing?
And Nestor's a man of the people. We saw Nestor's Subway pics. He's wearing the Shibu Inu shirts. Shibu Inu. It's fun to say. Jim, these guys,
I think Nestor's starting the season as a starter and King as a reliever. King had an interview recently talking about that. But they might mix and match this season unless they find a home, unless Nestor sticks it out and just continues to be dominant. Do you want to start with Nestor since he is starting as the starter?
Nestor deserves the honor. Nestor Cortes Jr. had nothing short of an awesome season last year. It's the eye test is very interesting with Nestor. Eye test. One of the most fun players to watch in baseball. I feel like going on Twitter during a Nestor start was a blast for us because we'd have fans reach out and be like, what the hell is going on out there? The leg kicks, the speed delivery, the slow deliveries. It's a form of entertainment you rarely see on a baseball field. And Jim, he pitched the tune 93 innings last year, 103 strikeouts. So it's not like we're talking about like Brett Anderson for those that know that just a couple ground balls and fighting through it. Nestor had a really good K rate last year, 14 starts, a 2.9 ERA.
So he started the bullpen as the slop guy, as the long relief guy. He came in when they were down 2, down 3, down 4, down 3, ahead 6, down 2, ahead 5. And those were his first 6 appearances where he was going 3 innings, 2 innings, 3 innings, 2 innings, 3 innings, Finally, they were like, all right, well, maybe Nestor's being kind of good. And they brought him into some tie games for long relief, and he did well there. And then something happened in the rotation. I forget who got bounced, but they put him in as a starter on July 28th, and never did he look back. Yeah. He started 12 games in a row, and in those starts had a 3.31 ERA. One game against the Baltimore Orioles, he struck out 11 batters.
Yeah.
With 98 pitches, 6.1. Went into the 7th inning. Insane.
One appearance this spring, 2 innings, clean, obviously. It's funny, man, and how we view baseball players. Nestor Cortes Jr. is 27 years old. Like, that was a 26-year-old breakout season. The baseball savant, the analytics are actually pretty nice. Expected ERA, expected batting average, the K percentage, it's there. The blue on it is fastball velocity. Average fastball of 91 miles per hour. I will say he can dial it up. Like, we'd see some 94s when he really wants to get there. That's not where he sits. And the other thing about Nestor, where there can be a very real side to this, is the four-seamer. It's not an invisible. That's a sexy term in baseball. But basically, I think the four-seamer almost floats. That makes it tough to hit. His four-seamer, the horizontal movement, is like negative compared to other pitchers that I think it makes it a tough at-bat, and there's a chance that could make it very real.
It's not tough to hit. It's tough to swing at. I would guess a lot of his strikes with the four-seamer are taken because he's doing all the delays and the different deliveries and the quick pitch. It's got a 14% whiff percentage, which is pretty low. So when guys are swinging at it, they're clipping it or getting good wood. but he just gets him looking a lot, where he just drops down and then basically running away from the mound by the time it gets there.
Yeah, I'd have to compare it to other fastball swing percentages because I know, compared to a breaking ball, that's a big number. But
14 is pretty low. Give me a pitcher that's not Garrett Cole to compare him to.
Monty. We just did him. Maybe we'll get to Michael King. Let's honesty hour.
It's honesty hour, and we're going to be honest.
If Nestor is good, it's awesome. It's cool. It's an incredible story. He was lights out last year. Even if he regresses a little bit, that's still an awesome dude to have on a baseball team. More than willing to come out of the pen if needed. Earned a starting role last year. Is there a chance that there's a baseball world where it was a little fluky last year? Yeah. And I think if you're at grips with that, let's enjoy this ride. Maybe he's a stud. Maybe he's 2 studs.
I said this in our conversation when we were just hanging around at the Yes Network, talking to the folks there, Jack Curry and the crew behind the scenes, talking baseball.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing about going to winter meetings or hanging out with other people in the industry, using douchey air quotes. It's like just genuine baseball. Like the conversations we have on air is what we would just have in the office. I think that the way he pitches, confidence looms so large. Like, you have to be able to pull those stop and starts and those stutter steps, and you do it in blitzball. And I think confidence looms large for you too. To feel like I'm going to do this, it's going to fuck him up, and it's going to work. You have to be so confident. And I'm interested. I never want it to happen, or I'm interested to see if he loses it. Like if he's has 2 bad starts, do the mind games and the mental games stay the same? Is he still like, well, I'm just going to keep doing this? Or if he has a couple good starts to start the year, pencil him in for a long stretch again, in my book.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a little bit of house money there, right? Like this dude was like DFA'd, like he was kicked out of the Orioles. He, it all happened very young, like shockingly young for a baseball player, but I think he's playing with house money a little bit. I think there's a little bit of pitching kind of under the speed. So many hitters are dialed up for 95, 96 that when you see Nestor, it's a different look. I'm getting into this whiff percentage stuff. I think his whiff percentage numbers are fine.
For the fastball?
Yeah, I have his 4-seamer at 23.2 last year. And like the run value stuff is really good for it.
14.3. Or
I think you're on the wrong thing.
I know what's happening.
Okay. Like the numbers
23%. That's
which I think are better than Monty's like fastball numbers.
Yeah, but Monty's that's his 4th pitch and 1st pitch, so it's a little tough. But it is not bad. It like Jameson's 28, Domingo is like 28, so it is not bad. It was looking at just a collection of like the last couple games.
Collection of games.
My bad. I apologize.
The Baseball Savant actually says Nestor has a chance to repeat it, which is really cool. And yeah, it's tough to put it in that bucket. Like when do we get to a spot where we're like all in, like the chips are on the table? You are Nestor Cortes Jr., a starting pitcher in the Yankees rotation.
Never.
Yeah, that's tough.
I mean, it's
not never.
Not this year.
If he's good through the All-Star break, I think we're like Nestor's a starting pitcher on this team.
I'm trying to say, because I'm not trying to be rude at all.
No, it puts you in a pickle. Like
it's just like there's so much non-pitching pitching that he does.
His WAR last year was 2.8. His career WAR is 1.7. Yeah. So, quick math there. Up until last year, he'd been a negative baseball player, and last year he was really good.
I'm just because the stuff isn't there, and it's a mixture of stuff and deliveries and trickery and mind games.
Right.
I don't think you could ever be like, yep. Like, I just don't know if like consistently, like Cueto got there. Stroman does it, but their like actual pitches and stuff is better. But you're right. The fastball did get better last year. Like it was like faster than we're used to. So I don't know.
Jim, I think you just accidentally segued us perfectly to Michael King.
Yeah.
Who, stuff-wise, especially what we saw out of the bullpen at the end of last year, that's something where you buy stock. Michael King came out, was pumping heaters. We were seeing 97, 98 on the gun when he was coming out of the bullpen. I know you said on repeat that this is a guy that could have really changed the Yankees' outlook of the season if he could have ate up some of those 2.1 inning bullpen performances, which he started to do. The fastball played, and I think what was really interesting was it seemed like he found a breaking ball, which he credited to Corey Kluber. Thanks, Kluber.
He's giving a lot of credit. He calls it a clue ball.
Yeah. And it looked really good. It looked real. So the question with Kinger, who, by the way, also 26, like him and Nestor in the same age bracket, did it come together? Did it all click? And what opportunity is Michael King going to get this year? Because it's a really tricky spot. Because if he goes in the bullpen and he's a really good 2-inning guy, that's a massive role on baseball teams now. Where does a spot open up in the rotation, and does he get a chance to go 5 innings, something like that, to try to become a starting pitcher in this league? It's going to be interesting to watch. I feel like injuries, unfortunately, are going to dictate it more than performance to a degree. We love Michael King off the field, and especially what we saw on last year.
Yeah, I mean, he came back from the injury with the clue ball. He was saying that Kluber taught him because they had the same arm slot, and I think that were they on the IL at the same time. I don't know. He didn't throw. Baseball Savant has trouble because they didn't know what the pitch was. They didn't know if it was his slider.
Nobody knows.
So at some point, Baseball Savant, I don't know, has the slider, and curveball like living in the same world, and then all of a sudden the slider disappears because I think he publicly said, no, it's my clue ball. So they're like, all right.
Clue ball leans curveball.
Yeah.
Ends in ball.
Yeah. Slider ball. Not a thing. Yeah, it was a good pitch. And I like King. I mean, he's friendly with us, and we did an interview. But like that aside, any other pitcher that has his same kind of motion and two-seam, I like. I like two-seamers. I like fastball pitchers. I like pitching guys that will pitch to contact. Goes back to Chin-Ming Wang. Like you just throw balls and they hit grounders and you walk off the mound. Like that is a badass feeling.
And Matt Blake deserves a shout out here. Matt Blake is becoming a little bit of a sinker whisperer.
I'm kind of the opposite of your average fan. Like I think that is more badass than striking out the side. If you were to to get someone out in less than like 10 pitches on 3 groundouts, I think is more badass than like striking out the side on 12 pitches. I don't know why.
Weak contact deserves a little more love, and the nerds don't know the best way to quantify it. Like they put weak contact up there, but even like...
Trust me, striking outside is awesome, but I think there's something beautiful about being like, I'm going to put it in the zone.
Right.
You're not going to hit it hard, and I know that.
Right.
And my guys are just going to field it, and I'm going to leave.
Right.
Like there's something more dominant in that mindset than me.
So I think another part that ties in this, Matt Blake, we've seen a couple sinker guys really take it to another level. So if that's part of King's development, that's awesome. The starting thing, and this is where part of the reason we really fell in love with Kinger, we like Instagram posts and stuff, it's not a big deal, is he's honest in his press conferences. Do you remember when he was starting and he said, like, I wasn't throwing my best stuff in the first inning? Like, I was trying to get through. And it was like, Kinger, I don't know if you got the leash for that yet, my man. So when he does, and he will get starts this year, like the baseball season will happen and he will be needed. It's how he attacks it, because it would be very easy to sit on the outside if we were a fan of another team or something like that and say, well, okay, so the kid was lights out as a reliever, but he got knocked around as a starter. Like, that's the easy conclusion with the 5.47 ERA as a starter and the 2.33 as a reliever. I don't know. I'm super interested to see where they land on it. I mean, with the expanded rosters, it becomes really interesting because there was a good shot he could have actually started the year in AAA as a starter, but now with the extra roster spots, he's kind of a lock to make the team. So, and keeping him stretched out and things like that, I don't know. King is going to be, there's a reason we combine these guys. In a way, they're tethered. Great word. And
that is a good word.
Thank you. Sometimes when, like, I can tell when Noodle's going to shake, like, he lines it up and I'll shake at the same time. And then I say tethered.
And you like the movie Us more than the common person.
I do.
Yeah. Is he starting in the bullpen? I had him in the bullpen before the expansion, but I guess I didn't play the math game at all. Oh, well, they still have Joely out there and I don't.
Right, but he's on a major league contract.
I know.
King has options.
I know, but it's just stupid and I don't like it.
Give Matt Blake a little bit. Joely can get lefties out. Maybe they can find a solution for righties.
Petition the rules to change. Get Randy Levine on it.
Before they expanded the rosters, they had a full house. Like, the conversation would have been like King kind of would have been on the outs with his options. Like, we did that a little bit. Now, I agree with you. If it was like playoffs started, I think King was on that roster. But as the start of the season, I think he would have been AAA now that they've added the two spots.
Can I tell you something? The bullpen needs more options.
Think so.
Like actual options. Like everybody in the bullpen can't be sent down when
literal
options.
Literal options to be sent down.
The bullpen is the one facet where teams love to send guys up and down.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Chapman can't go up and down. Laza can't go up and down.
Laza can, but he's...
Can, but he won't. Chad can't. Holmes can't. Wandy can. Joely can't. Albert Abreu can't. Litke can't. King can. So, you know what? If there's a trade going on, Abreu seems like a nice... If anyone is like saying, hey, we'll take him too, you kind of need to open up some flexibility in this bullpen. It's a different conversation, but
it's a little bit of a different convo as we get into roster construction. But I guess that's what I'll be tracking with Mike King. Is just how are they going to handle him? Are they going to keep him stretched out? Like, does Mike King get hurt by having to be in the bullpen and throwing 1.2 innings, 2.1 innings, where let's say if they need a spot start and Clark Schmidt is fully stretched out at AAA, I think Clark.
I think it's going to be King Nestor or Nestor the King.
For what?
Instead of Chester. I think he'll piggyback. He said to open the season.
Nestor to King to open the season.
Like they'll be a tandem. Like they will pitch something like that because in King's interview mid-game, he used the term like, yeah, I'd love to get a starter, but wherever they need me, if that's piggybacking. And that makes me think that he was told like that term. Like, yeah, we're going to have you piggyback a lot.
Yeah, I mean...
Because I don't think you usually just say that.
Early on in the season, especially like, dude, Cole for his first start is going to be stretched to like 75, 80 pitches. So
I don't think he will, but I think other guys will.
I think King's got to be ready to go, and that's where it's just going to be interesting to watch how the season plays out, especially up until May 1 when the rosters go back to 26 from 28. How do they treat him? Because
there'll be injury by that point.
Because Luis Hill is going to be ready to start. I think Clark Schmidt is getting stretched out. Davey's getting stretched out. So it would suck for King if a rotation spot opens up. He's doing good in his middle relief role, but because the other guys are stretched out, they would get the spot starts.
Yeah. I think that like the first 4 games, or I would just have them as a tandem. These two guys are getting us 7 innings today. Unless they mess it up.
Open to that.
Yeah. Let's watch some random videos.
Okay.
We'll do Nestor first, Jake, because we talked about him first.
That's fair.
Or, no, I got it. Show random video. Nestor Cortes, ball to shin Chu.
It's hard to make
They're getting their
huge
asses
jumps one year to the
kicked.
next. The Rangers
He had to bust him inside a little bit there.
Yeah.
Had to. Let's watch another one. That was old Nestor.
2-2. Didn't hate it. Okay.
The other time, June 30th,
Oh, this
This
is
is
mustache
fresh.
Nestor. This is
they
last
faced
year.
Ohtani.
Yep. Easy peasy.
Tarugi
Tarugi
Odor.
at third.
And Luke Voigt, the first baseman. So
The MLB
And think about that with even better defense.
I mean, it'll get to a point where we can't say that for every pitcher, but I guess throw Nestor in the bucket.
Let's think about that, though. Oh, Michael King ball to Francisco Lindor.
Oh,
2-0 count.
first base is open.
Yeah, first base is open, 2-0 count. You're not going to give in to him there. It's actually just a spectacular pitch.
Yeah. Okay.
Here we go.
Ground out to third base.
There you go. To Gio.
Gio to DJ. Another third base, first base.
Wow, that's a
combo.
nice play.
Play that again. Oh my God. Get that more on the screen.
Oh, that's the cuteness we're missing.
Let's watch that play again.
God.
And then land on the final screen.
I'm going to miss Gio.
At the end of my career, I was a bench player.
Just
so
'cause
you
he was-
figure out all kind of things to do, right?
My God. And we're cute.
Fuck.
Gio made that play look so
He was just chilling at the end on the tarp. What's
Like,
the over-under? We got to
he-
get out of here.
transferred and threw in one motion. BBD?
Over under for Nestor Cortes. I mean, both of them. It's a question of number of starts. King is 9.5 starts. Nestor is 19.5 starts.
9.5, 17.5.
$19.5 was the Cortez number.
19.5?
Oh, I'm seeing 17.5.
I'm on a sheet of just the over under, so it might have been adjusted for that page.
It's a sheet. Mike King stumbled into 6 starts last year. He was 4 the year before.
I think my personal line would have been like 6.5.
What did they have King at?
9.5 was what.
Feels a little high.
I think I would have put it at 5 or 6.5 for if I were to generate it.
I mean, King did stumble into 6 starts last year. In a year he was out for a little while. He's pretty good last year. I'm taking the over on Nestor. I think he's going to be out there. And I think I'm under on King just because I think he can be... I believe he's going to be very valuable out of the bullpen. And Heel, Clarkey, those guys might be better in line.
What's King's? 20?
Nine
Will he
and a
start
half.
20? I mean,
King's
Nestor's?
9.5. Nestor's 19.5.
So it's just 20 and 10.
Will he start 10?
Will they get
20.
10 and 20?
That's another way to look at it.
Over on both.
Twirl it.
You need starts. Right now I got Cole getting 30 and Monty getting 28, and I have no idea where the rest are coming from. How many Sevy's going to give you?
Tyone.
How many Thyon's going to give you? 25. Sevy, 40? Opener? That's the end of the show. We'll be back with another player profile and projection. Who are we doing next time? Don't tell them. Hey, who are we doing next time? Don't tell them.
Don't tell him.
Huge secret.
Domingo and Kluber combined for 34 starts last year. Sevy's
Wait, how many did Mingo get?
18.
You said the next person's name in this episode.
What?